Hey guys, my name is Samantha Roden. I'm a personal trainer with ACE, or American Council on Exercise. I just wanted to break this book down chapter by chapter and break the important highlights down. Now these are solely my notes. I'm not reading from the book at all. But these are the notes that I've taken and summarize myself from this book. So this is the book that I'm covering, ACE Personal Trainer Manual. I believe it's the fifth. Yes, the fifth edition. So we'll break it down. Today I'll talk about chapter 1 with you, okay? So chapter 1, they talk about our scope of practice as a personal trainer. And we're not allowed to diagnose people with conditions and that sort of thing. You're not allowed. You're not a physician. You can't do that. You also cannot do any meal planning with clients because we're not a registered dietitian or a nutritionist. That's the rule. You can't do that. Let's see. We're not allowed to talk about supplements with clients as well. And no massages. We're not allowed to massage clients unless you're a licensed massage therapist. That's the only stipulation there. We are to refer clients to the USDA dietary guidelines when they ask us about nutrition, or refer them to myplate.gov. And you can talk about some generic things like, just some generic macros, but not breaking anything down personally for a person and prescribing them their macros or meal prepping for them, that sort of thing. Let's see what else they kind of get hung up on in chapter 1. They want you to know that most individuals need about 150 minutes a week in exercise, in moderate exercise, and 75 minutes a week in higher intensity exercise, or higher sort of thing, whatever I'm trying to say. I'm getting tongue-tied, sorry. But let's see. I think that's pretty much it in the first chapter. Also, CEUs, or your continuing education credits. Every 2 years we have to have 2.0 CEUs to maintain our certification through ACE, and that breaks down into units. Most of these units are 0.1 per module as you buy them through ACE, and sometimes they'll do free ones, if you want to hang around and kind of wait for the free ones to come through. But so also remember that, don't let time run out. And do you have to have a degree to be a personal trainer? No, you do not have to have a degree. Some people jump into this program with a background in healthcare or maybe exercise science, but it's not a requirement. You just take the program and take the test and pass it. If you pass, it's great. But talk about some general definitions too that they mention in chapter 1. They talk about overweight. What is overweight? Overweight is carrying an excessive amount of weight when compared to height, measuring using height to weight ratios, so like the BMI. Let's see, sedentary, that's a lifestyle of someone that's not very active. Obesity is the accumulation of excessive amounts of body fat. Typically 20% over the ideal body weight is considered obese. Body fat, a normal part of our bodies. Now fat is normal, we do need some fat. The primary role is to store energy in order to use it for later. Body composition, a calculation of the makeup of the body. It's put into terms of percentage of fat-free mass and body fat. Let's see. They want you to know about CPR. And you do have to have a CPR certification to maintain your certification through ACE. Let's see. They want you to know what an AED is, or an automated external defibrillator. That's what they use during CPR. If somebody's heart is in a funky rhythm, it'll shock them back into normal rhythm. And contraindication. Well, what does that word mean? It's a condition that deems a movement, activity, or treatment undesirable. So you think about someone, would you want to train a client that has like COPD or asthma, diabetes. These are things that you're going to have to take into consideration. There are some conditions that you should not train a client. Should you take a client that's pregnant and throw them into some really high intensity interval training? No, but you can modify things so that fits that client, that sort of thing. Those are contraindications. Let's see what else I have in my notes here. Just running over things with you. More definitions. What is feedback? Well, feedback is a response that is internal for the learner. It happens during processing of information. The correctness and the incorrectness of internal response is stored as memory and will be used in the future for the activity or movement. Both verbal and nonverbal information can be stored and used in the future. The feedback you're receiving from your client. Are they bored with this activity? Are they getting something out of this? Is it a little too much for them? Those sort of things to take into consideration. Let's see. Your heart rate reserve. The capacity of the heart. This is measured by taking the difference of someone's max heart rate and their heart rate at rest. This is overall reflection of the ability of the heart to increase its cardiac output from a resting to maximal intensity. You get into some heart rate training, and ACE gets into VTE, I believe. Let's see, I can't remember my terms right now. I use heart rate system at my gym, but I use something entirely different. But I do love heart rate training. I think it's a wonderful tool in weight loss. And just, challenging conditioning yourself, developing your own cardiorespiratory endurance. RPE is ratings of perceived exertion. So it's a scale. It ranges from 6 to 20. Let's see, there is a scale that ranges from 6 to 20, but currently it measures from 0 to 10. And this is just the client, what they can tell you. If they're running on the treadmill or they're on the bike, they can tell you their ratings of perceived exertion, how tired they are. And other key things you can look at too, are they able to still talk to you? Can they talk to you in 2 to 3 word sentences, full sentences? Or are they just huffing and puffing so hard they're only able to get one word out at a time? So in that scenario where they're not able to talk to you at all, I would rank them as a 10. Now they're supposed to tell you what their number is, the ratings of perceived exertion. Let's see. We talk about, this is really important too. You're going to see this a couple of times through the book. Intrinsic motivation. I'm trying to break it down into a more simpler term instead of reading you this long definition. The definition says, in realm of exercise comes when a person partakes in exercise because they inherently enjoy the feeling that comes from partaking in the activity. So it's an internal driven factor. They love the way the exercise makes them feel. It releases those happy endorphins. They do it solely for that reason. They're not doing it solely to get into in a bikini or to drop some, pant sizes by the summer or whatnot. So intrinsic motivation, let's see the biggest intrinsic motivators. I'm so sorry, I lost my place. For example, being socially engaged, challenged, and developing skills are some of the biggest intrinsic motivators. Do you have buddies at the gym? Do you have somebody that you work out with? Those are things. Studies show that intrinsic motivators lead to a greater participation in exercise, and I find that true in my gym as well. If they're enjoying what they do, if they see their self making progress and how this makes them feel, and they're able to encourage each other, hold each other accountable, I see that they hang in there with it a little longer in my program. Now, extrinsic motivation, that's trying to look hot to get into a bikini. It's the action of exercising for a reason other than the pleasure of participating. Most adults have some type of extrinsic motivation. Examples include looking good for personal reasons, looking good for a significant other, just losing weight, and meeting new people. These motivators are less fulfilling and lead to guilt and pleasure being associated with their exercise. Most people have a combination of both types, and I agree. Most people do have a combination of both. We do want to lose weight. We do want to look better. But honestly, I think the intrinsic motivation is the most beneficial there, and I do watch with my clients. It keeps them, you know, in the gym. Those are the ones geared up and fired up. They're in here 3, 4, 5 times a week. Okay, let's see what else I can tell you from Chapter 1. We talked about myplate.com. Check that out whenever they ask about dietary and making them a meal plan. Remember, you are not legally able to do that. That is not within the scope of practice of a personal trainer. It is under the scope of practice of a registered dietitian or a nutritionist. You're going to see that come up quite a bit. Let's see. Some benefits that come from exercise: improved cardiorespiratory and muscular fitness, prevention of falls. We talk about our safeties and ADLs, or activities of daily living. As we get older, we're more, you know, apt to fall, have falls at home. So improving balance and stability, mobility training, that's very important, especially as we age. Let's see, reduces symptoms of depression. And as we get older too, it improves our cognitive function. Our brain, you know, as we get older, ages, and we don't think quite as sharply as we did when we were 25 years old. So exercise does, it's very beneficial in improving cognitive function, for sure. Let's see. Talk about HIPAA. Or I think I'm into the second chapter now. I apologize. I'll give you a little head start on the second chapter. But yeah, that's it pretty much for the first chapter. And stay tuned, and I'll bring another video later regarding Chapter 2. If you like these videos, please like, subscribe, and hit the little bell. Thanks a lot.